Come on. I've had problems with technology all day, even worse than normal when I say that. Won't go into that. It's not what the video is about. Now probably the volume won't work. We'll see. Right, so I'll keep this video brief, I hope. I don't waste too much time and energy. Right, so if I went back a month, I was going on about class war, propaganda matrix, state superstructure, more or less that's the same thing. And now, in that, the difference between then and now is not much. I've added top bottom reality, left right, and all that stuff is like artificial. It's abused by the state, it's used by the state for that top bottom structure to stay solid. So they use the artificial left right, Labour, Tory, Democrat, Republican, everything that goes with that. They use it's just used so they can have that top bottom structure in place. So they have all the propaganda matrix, they have all the news media, they have billionaires blackmail them by saying, introduce this policy and we'll fund you and all this. But that top bottom is real, and that gets abused so the propaganda can go on. And this could last, it could last another 50 years. I won't be amazed. And eventually we'll be proved right in decades and decades and decades and decades years' time. And they'll apologise as if, But at the moment, propaganda matrix is still in place. Now, the solution then, well, it's just a matter of people becoming conscious about it. That's the solution. So it really is the answer. I've pretty much said it already. Obviously, we'd need to if we had this, if enough people became conscious about it, we'd then be having a historical inquiry into it, historical inquiry into the news media, the press. We need to spread power more thinly. We need to be in a position where we can't say that's power, pointing to Downing Street in Westminster, news media corporations in the UK and Westminster SW1. I mean, let's say we got rid of the state superstructure propaganda matrix. Would our lot replace it? No, because it's not who's in there that counts. That's not what matters. What matters is the state superstructure system is fixed for propaganda. It's fixed for power and control. No matter who's in it. So in other words, people would all become corrupted. Everyone would be like that. Well, I'm not saying everyone in a state superstructure is corrupt, but they are in a corrupt system, if you know what I mean. You see, at the end of the day, there's just people. But if you make these systems that incentivize vast inequality, then that's what you're going to get. The state superstructure is meant to have millionaires. It's meant to have billionaires. It's meant to have extremely poor people. It's a capitalist system. Capitalism is, it says it is. It's from capitalists itself admits that it's an inequality system. And the defence is that no one's going to give up that. NATO would never give it up. Whether there was peace on earth or not, they wouldn't give it up. So these systems are devised to be unequal. They're devised to be offensive to peace and equality. This is not what they're about. We don't have an army for peace. We don't have capitalism for equality. And that's what it is. If you look in any political textbooks, when you look at capitalism and the state, it goes on about power, it goes on about inequality. There's not an attempt at inequality from capitalism. And so oftentimes there's an attempt for inequality. But at the end of the day, there's just people. There isn't your lot, my lot, etc. That's the propaganda talking through you. It's possessed you. We all suffer from it from time to time, or often. But so we do not replace it. You can't replace it. Either that or you're not that. If we replaced it, we'd be propping up the state superstructure. It would be our fault. State superstructure exists when people give it the finger, not when they get in there and say, hey, I'm here, now it's mine. So the goal is to see through it. See through it. That's how we do it. So my view is that if we saw through it, what would emerge is a cooperation in society, because when I see people, when they bump into each other in the street, tend to be cooperative. It's only when you get onto a propaganda issue that's come from the very top that you get that conflict between people. And it might, because it bumps into each other in the street, you might be shy about it, or you might be quiet about it, or you might pretend that you're not really that bothered about it. But there's that issue is there. You know what I mean? Like that propaganda, it's just come from the top. It's there. It's not come from you. It's not come from the person you're talking to. It's the power at the top that's brainwashing people. And if they hadn't brought that issue up, you'd just be cooperative a bit more, because people are genuinely cooperative. It's only when they get onto that issues that have been brought up by the state at the top, whatever your nation you're in. I'm not just slagging Britain off. That's a worldwide problem. I see it in the US, because the US speak English and online all the time, so I see their issues, their conflicts. And it's always, I recognise it all the time. I think that's only because that issue's at the top there in the States. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having that conflict. It's been put there by their news media, by their parties. For example, Trump insurrection. There's lots of issues there, though. There were culture wars that are given to them. And they've been basically hammered into their heads. You're a city dweller. You're with them. You're a country. You're with them. Now get stuck in. You know what I mean? It's not. You don't need that. There's no necessary need for that. It's just some conflict that makes them feel bad. If they just decided to cooperate instead, that would just go. It's not necessary. There isn't something there to thank God we're in hell. You know what I mean? There's no reason for it. Just get over it. And they could say the same back to us in Britain. Just get over it. Just cooperate with one another. Don't be showing your ass to the other side. Just get on with each other instead. And that can happen. But there's a lot of consciousness growing that's required here. And that's the solution. People have to become more conscious. They have to see through the propaganda matrix. Hope the videos worked. I'm not sure. 50-50.